Here we are on Friday morning at 10 o'clock. This is Williamsburg, Pennsylvania, the old colonial city. And we're beginning our tour with the Governor's Palace. Hi Dan, how are you?
Fine.
What's the weather like out here?
Nice. But it's going to get really too warm.
It is, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of shade around here.
Don't take any now, Dan.
I'm going to invite you to come in and sit down in the courtyard. There's another set of benches there. If you please stay in line. We'll take the details. If you give us the 45
It's a courtyard.
We'll start the next tour probably.
Pan the room.
Someone towards the back, please close the door. Small lock and then big lock.
You can learn how to play them. You don't have to learn, you know how to play them.
These rooms are not shown as though they're being used. When the governor was entertaining, there would be several long, beautifully set tables in here to accommodate everyone. The sit-down supper, not a buffet. With the menu, it was mostly dessert.
troops of the Britons, more eager to be cooperative with us when they arrive, which will
Now, I don't know what you think we can do. Do you think that these people are going to take their pitchforks and go up against bayonets? Do you think we're going to take our fowling pieces and stop their artillery? Now, I've seen you go out and your gun's more rust than anything else. We cannot stop the regulars. I mean, look at Lafayette. He's 2 counties away. And what were his latest reinforcements? Mad Anthony Wayne brought down a Pennsylvania brigade that mutinied up in New York. We got mutineers that help us if they get close enough to Cornwallis. And I might remind you that when Benedict Arnold burned Richmond, what did Lafayette do? He stayed on the other side of the river and he watched. There's nothing that we can do here. And what's more, I advise you to watch your mouth. I will not cause the life of Francis Marion or Seaver or any of the other patriots down there cowards. They're doing their best with what they got.
I'm not saying anyone was a coward, sir. If you were the Gilberts, you know that Cornwallis received a bloody nose from Greene. I expect we like him, sir.
And we were going to win. That's easy enough for you to say, sir. You don't have a wife and children.
Gentlemen, that's exactly correct. You should mind yourself, you old fool. This ain't the French and Indian War.
Sir, I was fighting the French when you were sucking pack with your mother.
There are ladies.
Silence is young.
I would remind you to my disabilities.
Forgive me, Mr. Mayor. We've got the largest army in the South coming and knocking on our front door. Of course, we should remember the civilities. The world may end, but let us mind our pleas and our thank you. Keep within compass.
We need to maintain what we can and what makes us American business at all costs. Some things perhaps the British cannot take away. Yes, there
Your
is.
Honor, this man implies that he has no family.
Well,
It happens to be that his son, my father, died in this war, just like you think young men died, and my father died and his son died. I've taken on my mother's maiden name because people here, people elsewhere, think we would have surrendered. Do you think they're gonna be happy?
Mr. Mayor, we take advice from children now.
She speaks the truth.
She speaks as a child.
I think it's wonderful to me,
All the men and little girls that do not understand what war is say that.
Why aren't you with the army if you understand the war?
We answered them at the army, Bob.
There is much to what the woman says. We are here to get opinions from all that have lived. Are there any others among you who would voice a course of action?
I should like to hear from Attorney Howell.
Well, recognize Mr. Attorney Howell.
Mayor, freeholders, and others, I remind you all that there are certain rules of war to which we must consider ourselves engaged.
Just like the war.
Now, these rules of war.
Excuse me, sir, I've just come in because I've been taking care of a sick baby. Are you saying the rules of war? Did you say?
Mr. Mayor, please now we're being interrupted by women.
Excuse me, I'm going to beg your humble pardon, but I was trying to think about my poor husband, you see. A year gone by, he was killed in a place down in South Carolina. Colonel Tarleton be his name, and after my husband surrendered, that's when they killed him.
That's Carlton's order for me.
But you've got
Mr. Mayor, please, I have the floor.
You should have a
But you
course.
must understand, I am left alone by myself with three maids. What is I going to be doing? What am I doing now?
We are not
Where's your
sensitive
man?
to your feelings, madam.
Widow Ranger, I do have the greatest respect for you and your dear departed husband, but be aware that we have all suffered depredations of this calamity.
Disengage, you old men.
Mrs. Ranger, this is not a game. Whether we call them the rules, whether we call them engagements, be aware that if we oppose them this militarily, we shall open up the town to sacking, to looting, to burning, and, madam, I believe you know what else might attend.
What course of action are we to follow then, sir? Are we to read them as liberators, fraternize with them, invite them into our homes,
Oh, Mr. Greenhow, we don't need to worry about inviting them into our homes. They're going to come
unduly incisive and populist. Remind preventing civility, sir. We are Virginians.
Mr. Mayor, I have fought these men as I have said. There is no hope of stopping them.
Perhaps
We had some hard decisions before us. We had best face up to them.
You are quite right, sir. Everything we have known, all the very things that have held us together, everything that we've depended on and trusted in all our lives, are crumbling around us.
There ain't no gentility anymore, Mr. Mayor.
The world is truly turned upside down. We need must, however, find a way to survive. This is why we are here. No matter what your feelings are on the matter, no matter what the outcome of the occupation of the city, nothing will ever be the same for any of us again. Now, as anyone, the course of action we might follow.
May I?
There it comes,
I recognize many of you here. I see others of you by your garb of flotsam and the drift of those who have fled before the wrath of Cornwallis, Butcher, Tarleton, and the rest of that murdering lot. It is not easy for me to say this, but these words must be said. In fact, they have been said before I rose to address you. We must face the fact that nothing we say or do is going to prevent the British from marching into our city.
You state the obvious now. Get on with it.
Yes.
Let him speak.
What I wish to say is, we must accept this fact. And once we have accepted it, we can proceed to deal with this problem and find some way of resolving it, if indeed any kind of resolution is possible here. I have been giving this, like yourselves, a great deal of thought. And I have some recommendations here. Of course I've written it down. I think it's damn important that I write this down, Clark. May I continue, sir?
Yes, please do.
Oh, Mayor. As I have said, armed resistance is futile and will result in the utter destruction, the complete destruction of our community. Do you realize, Clark, that in the British Army regulations, they have a clause called silent contempt?
I served in the British Army, pal.
Then you know what silent contempt means.
Very well, sir.
If you look with contempt upon Charlton or Simcoe or Lord Cornwallis, you can be flogged. Shot.
We'll be under martial law, sure enough.
Under martial law. You
This
keep
is the
that in
last
mind.
meeting of our government.
However, we do have this to look forward to. I received intelligence of the numbers of this Cornwallis' army is between 5,000 to 7,000.
Even more Tories join up.
And of course, they've got their camp followers that follow in their train. Of course, this law, consisting of that many thousands of people, consume a great deal of food. Not to mention the provender, the fodder that their livestock, their cavalry horses, their artillery horses, their draft animals will consume.
They'll take off?
That was something we And once they have ate this area, once they have ate around this area, they will have to move on and search of other sources.
Once they've stripped us.
Well,
I still have the floor, please. One final thing, Mr. Law. They will quarter troops in. God bless you.
God goes with you. Yes.
My apologies, Mr. Mayor.
I might point out, the British, beg pardon?
I have a suggestion before
Yes,
Savannah.
sir.
Pray.
That is one thing which has maintained us throughout from the beginning. While we
Yes,
were
well
British,
said, sir.
and after we are all members of the church. I quite agree with Mr. Powell that full civility is the only way to get along, not cooperation, not resistance which will have us dead, but not belligerence which will have us maimed. But I quite agree with this fellow guidance of our Creator. In so doing, you would all join me in reading the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me by the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Gentlemen and ladies, may God help us.
Amen. The Lord be with us.
This meeting of the Freeholders is at an end. God save the Commonwealth of Virginia.
God save the Commonwealth of Virginia. God help us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining outside.
Oh, you can't smile. You're being humiliated, guys.
Dan, Danny, look up a little.
Come on, pull the thing up, Dad.
That's what we should have in a backyard for these kids. Right?
Bye.
And to elect their representatives for Burgess. In fact, it was a two-part government, the same model that they had in England. Whereas in England you have a House of Lords and a House of Commons. In the colonies, the Governor's Council and the Governor on this side representing the King, and the people's representatives called Burgesses, like the House of Commons on that side. Can you hear? A little louder. I'll try to put it out. All matters of government were resolved here. And also, there's a big court here. The Supreme Court of the colony was over here on the King's side of the building. And lots of important activities, lots of events took place here. England was the mother country, and all these colonists came over as colonists. They knew they had the right of free-born Englishmen, all the rights of free-born Englishmen. They knew the charter enabled it to those rights. And so they began to resent very much the taxation. These 12 Virginia gentlemen who advised the governors are like a what is the word? Advised cabinet, thank you. That's exactly the word. Cabinet to the chief executive, and the taxation was a representation. His speech is remembered partly because he said Caesar had his Brutus, Charles I his Cromwell, and George III